Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fearless and Fabulous podcast. This is the space where women thrive no matter their age or size. I am your host and creator, Melanie Robinson, the current reigning Miss Voluptuous International. And you know, I love to bring queens on here because they are accomplished, they are fierce, they are fabulous. And today I have my first queen from the great state of Alabama. I am so excited that I'm getting more and more amazing women on here. And this woman, she made an impact this last year because she shows up fiercely and fabulously. I want you all to meet the amazing Sara. Say hi, Sara.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Milliken. As Melanie said, I am so excited to finally be here. I love absolutely everything this queen does. It's truly an honor to be here, truly. But as she said, am I made quite an impact last year after I won my title of National American Miss Alabama. It came with a lot of cyberbullies, which is not always fun. People that didn't always think that a curvy girl can be a queen, but we are always here to prove them wrong. I also now hold the title as International Outstanding Miss Senior Ambassador for a brand new pageant system. So super, super exciting. And as Melanie said, from Sweet Home, Alabama. So I always like to say that's why I do sound like cornbread sometimes. You'll see that come out a little bit. But other than that, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. I love spending time with my dog. And deep down at the core, I am just Sara.
You are all that and everything, girlfriend. So this you mentioned the cyberbullying, and I wanted to maybe start there because if people don't normally follow the pageant world, and believe it or not, I do get people who watch this, and their knowledge of pageants is kind of just, very basic. But one of the things that unfortunately happened with you is that people who don't understand that there are different systems in the pageant world. Not
Right.
everything is Miss Universe, not everything's like Miss USA. It's not all the same criteria. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people just thought, how dare a curvy woman win a title in the pageant world? They didn't quite get
Right.
it. So, can you tell us a bit about the system that you were in and, the types of categories and, maybe their mission? Because maybe it might help some people understand, not all beauty pageants are the same.
Yeah, of course. So, National American Miss is a program that was built on building life skills and confidence for young women. It started out for being ages 4 to 24, and we actually have a brand new elite division that goes from ages 25 to 39. So, super, super exciting. But like I said, building life skills, building confidence. And when I first started at 15, that is exactly why I joined. I was somebody that I'm not going to say I was a shy kid. I was definitely somebody that always liked to light up a room and make somebody laugh, but I didn't have like this outlet that I could do that and I could express myself and have those public speaking skills and really put them to use growing up in a small town. And finding National American Miss and being able to do that really gave me those opportunities that I had never had. So with National American Miss, so much of your score actually comes from public speaking and from interview, and we actually have a required community service. There's absolutely no weight on physical beauty. There is no weight on size. There is no weight on the clothes that you wear. There is no weight on anything that is external. It is all about the girl that is inside, the impact that she wants to make on her community, the impact she wants to make on others, her plans for the future, how she can promote the system. It all comes from what is internal. And, kind of like you said, that is what a lot of people kind of got misconstrued.
Yeah.
We have so many beauty pageants out there. We have pageants that are scholarship organizations. We have pageants that are exclusive for curvy queens. And, I think there's a space for everything, but we
Yeah.
need to understand. And I think that, unfortunately, it's a lot of people that aren't always educated in what they're talking about, sharing their opinions. And I think that, we need to kind of understand that there's spaces for everybody. And I'm so glad that, National American Miss kind of became my space.
And, congratulations to you for winning that
Thank
title
you.
because that just to win a title is a huge accomplishment in itself. And I am positive you had some amazing women who were competing with you. And I can tell just from the way you show up on social media and the way you're speaking right now that, they definitely made the right decision because you
Thank
are
you.
unapologetically yourself. You're very supportive. You are giving so much to the community. And that's what I think really it should be all about. And
Absolutely.
besides, why do we value women so much on what they look like or how much they weigh? It's such a shallow way of looking at women in general.
100%.
Yeah, it's so let me ask you this, Sarah. When you were getting that unfortunate cyberbullying, how did you handle that?
It was tough at first. I'll be honest, the first thing that I did is I turned off my phone. I did not
Mm,
check comments. I did not engage in it. And I really did not realize like how big the story had gotten. And one of my friends actually asked me, they were like, "Have you Googled yourself in the last few days?" And I was like, I have not. I was so confused as to like TMZ and Good Morning America was calling me. Why do y'all want to hear from me? Hello, who am I? So when she told me to Google myself, and I did, and I see all these news articles, like I was truly oblivious to what was going on. I had no idea, which is it's so funny. I almost tell people I feel like that part of the story, like other people almost know more about it than I do because I truly blocked it out. But I just I decided it made me really anxious. I'll be honest. That was
yeah.
the one thing that I experienced the most. I at that time had never experienced bullying to that extent. I think growing up as a curvy girl, like I'd had people, make little comments here and there, but I never experienced bullying, so to say. I had never really experienced somebody coming to me for my weight as unfortunately, so many plus size girls have. And
Yeah.
so I never experienced that before. And going into the grocery store, I thought that a wave of people were going to come up to me and like say these things just like they were going to online. And that was something that I really had to deal with and
Mm,
come to terms with. No, like I can walk into Walmart and people aren't going to do that to me because people are way bolder behind a screen than they are
yeah.
online. I quickly learned that. But the number one thing that I did, and I bless my sweet state directors. They are the world's best, and I give them like all the credit in the world. Um, I told my director, I was like, I feel so bad. Like I wanted to make like such an impact in my first like week. Like I wanted to hit the ground running and make all these appearances, and I just feel like I can't do that right now. Like I don't have the mental capacity. Like I can't pour
Mm.
from a half full glass. Like I just want to lay in my bed and snuggle with my puppy dog. And she said, then do that. So that is exactly what I did. I laid in bed and I snuggled with my dog and I stayed off my phone and we watched Netflix and I hung out with family and I did things that grounded me
Yeah.
and reminded me that the people that love me, they are the ones that I didn't engage with those comments, but the people that love me, they were fighting for me in those comments because they know who I am at my core. And it was the people that don't know me and don't know my heart that have something negative to say about me. And reminding myself of that and being able to truly ground myself is how I was able to deal with that.
Good for you. Like seriously, good for you. And I think that speaks so much to who you are as a person that you realized I need to take a quick step back. I need to get with myself again. I need to surround myself with people who get me and love me and know my heart. And just give me a minute and I will come back, with even more, with more force.
Absolutely.
And you did. And one of the things that, what really angered me when I was seeing some of that backlash is the fact that these are people that just do not understand that there is a space for anyone who wants to show up in life. You don't have to look a
Hmm.
certain way. You don't have to uh, have a certain status or make so much money. Like you have a right to exist in the world as you are. And that's what's something that
100%.
really, really bothered me. And I was just so proud of you of how you conducted yourself through this whole ordeal, but it wasn't all bad things, was it? Like you had like some
No.
wonderful things come out of it too.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I tell everybody. I'm like, I would go through it a million times over if I knew the positive that came out of it at the end. And for so long, I tell myself, like, I wondered, because it actually took me 8 years to win that title. So it was
Mm.
something that I worked for years. And I remember thinking when I was 15 and I didn't win it the first time, I was like, I don't know why. Like, I thought this was my time. Why is it like, why didn't it happen for me? And all those years of wondering, like, why not now? Like, why isn't it me? In that moment, I was like, I know why. Because, this is supposed to be my story because I'm the one that can handle this. And knowing that not only could I handle that, but I've overcome worse in my life. And I have been able to take those things because a huge reason why I competed is I've actually lost my dad. And, knowing how short life is, I was like, I'm not going to let that be just a negative thing. I'm going to turn it into me realizing how short life is. I'm going to go compete in this pattern again. I'm not going to let something negative be something negative. I'm going to turn it into a positive. And, that's exactly what I did. Making the Watch Me post went viral out of complete shock. It was raw emotions, 100 typos looking back, but it was just raw, unfiltered emotions. And that was the one that really brought so many people that were inspired by those words. And I was able to build a following of other girls that needed to see someone confident in themselves. I was able to reach girls that didn't even realize that there's other pageant systems besides Miss America or Miss USA. I was able to connect with girls from across the state. I was able to, really reach out and branch out, make appearances that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to make if I hadn't have experienced what I experienced. And knowing that my story was able to touch somebody and was able to tell somebody that no matter what happens, whatever you go through, you can make something positive out of it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that it happened and I'm grateful that I was strong enough to go through it.
And there's something that you just said that speaks so deeply to me, Sarah, is that I have learned that when you go through something very difficult, it really reveals who you are
Hmm.
and how you're going to keep showing up in life. And first of all, my condolences about the loss of your dad. I lost my
Thank
mother
you.
when I was 27, so I understand when you lose someone young, that can be very, very traumatic, but it does help you see what you can possibly bring something positive out of. So I'm so proud of you for being able to
Thank you. Thank you.
handle a very challenging time in your life and find a way. And Queen, you went after that title for 8 years. That is
Yes.
persistence. That is work. And that's something else I'm going to say to some of those haters out there that it is work to win a title, people. It
Yes.
is work. It is not just put on a pretty dress and walk around. It's so much
Right?
more.
Like I literally prepared for 365 straight days. And people think that's like an exaggeration, but I saw the pictures for the 2023 pageant and I was like, you know what? I'm going to compete next year. Like I'm sick of sitting on the sidelines. I am ready to go after it. And the very next day, decided that okay, I'm going to start putting in the work now because even if I'm not the skinniest or the prettiest or I don't have the most expensive dress, like nobody can say that they prepared harder than me. So when I
Mm,
say that I prepared for 365 days and I was the most prepared one, I mean that.
that's what's it. That's what's it, girl. So you mentioned that you are now an ambassador.
Yes.
So let's hear about that. That sounds exciting.
Yeah, so International Outstanding Miss is a brand new pageant system, and I'm just so excited to be an ambassador for them. They actually, like I said, are brand new. Our national pageant is next September for 2026, and it is in Virginia Beach. They are a truly inclusive system for all ages, all sizes, all races, genders, they're truly accepting of everybody, and that is what really drew me in for them. And knowing that, they were so willing to crown a plus size girl as their inaugural queen and ambassador really speaks volumes and makes me so, so excited to be a part of it. And knowing that I get to continue to welcome girls in, whether it's their first pageant or their 10th, and be kind of that smiling face and welcome them in and show them that, hey, you have a friend here and continue to be a queen even after my reign as Nameless Alabama. It's something I'm so excited about.
That's amazing. And my heart just leapt up because you mentioned it's going to be in Virginia Beach. That is 45 minutes away from me.
Oh, that
So
is so,
I
so
will need to
exciting.
go and see
Yes.
you. And, we'll have to hang out. We'll have to talk later.
Oh my
That's
goodness,
so
yes.
exciting.
Labor Day 2026.
Oh, fantastic. That's awesome. I also want to talk to you about your Crowned Creative business that
Yes.
you started. And first of all, how did that start? And what is your mission through this business that you began?
So that was another kind of one of those things that started one of the good things that came out of the whole cyberbullying and all of that. I was truly just looking for a creative outlet. I've always been a creative person. And I started with the Queen's portraits, which is just kind of your gown. And they started very, very simple. I wasn't very good at the details yet. With the crown, the banner, so simple. And then since then it's grown. I've done, I don't have an official count, but from what I've estimated, I think I've done over 750 at this point. And yeah, so 750 portraits that I have hand drawn for girls across all systems, which is absolutely insane to think about at this point. And I started just doing them for fun, giving them out for free to my friends and my sister queens for Nan. And they were like, "Girl, why aren't you selling these?" And I was like, "I don't know, I'm just doing them for fun." So I started selling them for $5 each, which is so funny to look back at. Um, $5 each. And that is kind of what started it all. And since then, it's grown and expanded. And I started with digital products and now it's expanded to being pretty much fully physical products. Of course, still honor the Queen's portraits, and that's still my baby, still my favorite product to do. It'll always have a special place in my heart. And um, man, it's been a whirlwind, especially now national pageant season. It's it's been especially busy, but I love it, and it's been the best, probably the best thing to come out of everything that happened.
That's amazing. And just something that you just enjoyed to do and just made it as something to give to fellow sister queens and realizing, oh, maybe I have like a side gig here I can do.
Right?
And it's something that you love doing. And I think that is really, really amazing. And I don't think there's enough women who realize that you can take something that you love and you can make like a little business out of it. That's something that they want to
Yeah.
pursue. And it takes a bit of fearlessness too, to just put yourself out there. Were you at all nervous about trying to make this a business, or what were your thoughts with that?
Oh, I was absolutely terrified to do it.
Mm,
I did not think that anybody would want to purchase it. Like I was just so afraid of putting myself out there and then kind of like being embarrassed of the thought of failure, the thought of, nobody would want to purchase it. And I think that's why I kind of started out with these $5 portraits because I thought if I actually, put my worth out there and charge what I should have, that, nobody would buy them. And that's why I did not value myself and I
mm.
priced them so cheap. Um, but I learned that as I really put myself out there even more and I poured my heart into it and I continued to make Crown Creative Co my own, I poured all the pink and all the sparkles and the bows and the girly things into it that, it only grew more. And I realized that there was kind of a space for other pageant girls that, want their title and want pageant merch and all the other kind of things. They want that, but they also want it to be pink and they want it to be girly and all the other things as
Yeah.
well. So even though it was one of the scariest things that I've ever done, really going for it, like I said, it ended up being one of the best things I've ever done, and it's brought me so many amazing opportunities. I've been able to sponsor some Miss USA state pageants. I've been able to, of course, work with Miss Voluptuous International, which I'm so excited about. I'm so excited to sponsor the new queens this October. So excited to see who they will be. And yeah, just so many amazing opportunities that sometimes I can't even comprehend is happening.
So you talked about knowing your worth, and that's a big thing that I like to bring up with women as well, because I feel like generally we have a problem with that. Like we really
Yeah.
have a problem saying I'm worth this, my time is worth this, my skills are worth this, and yet somehow men overall don't seem to struggle with that. They're okay with applying for a job they're not necessarily fully qualified for. But for many women, we tend to look at something and go, well, I don't have this skill or I have this as an experience. I'm not even going to try. So what's your take on really being able to set what your worth is and being proud of it? What is your thoughts on that?
Somebody will see it.
Yeah.
And I think when I finally realized that sometimes all it takes is that one person seeing it to kind of create a ripple effect. And for me, work like I said, I started with those $5 portraits. And then finally I was like, girl, you are putting way too I'm a perfectionist. And I think that's one thing that really sets my business apart. Like I started with these $5 portraits and they're now $25. Spoiler alert for anybody listening that tries to find these $5 portraits. They no longer exist. But, once I finally said, okay, look, I'm gonna have to price this for my worth. I'm gonna have to price this for my time and what I do. And, somebody finally saw, okay, look, this is really cool. She's putting all her time and her energy and her effort into this. And somebody finally saw my worth and I saw it too. And when you see your worth and somebody else sees your worth, it causes other people to see it as well. But it all starts with you have to see it
Yeah.
first. And you have to be that one person for yourself as well.
Yes, I'm 100%, 100%. Like it, here I am. I'm turning 55 this next month, and I'm so glad that you learned that lesson a lot quicker than I did. Like it took me a while. I would say into my early 30s before I finally got it that, hey, I need to stop thinking myself as being here. I'm here now. If I can get my
Yeah.
hand, it's like, and I think that's something that too many women they get stuck here. And even with their experiences and the connections they've made and the education they gain, they're not willing to raise that bar for others to see them that way. And if that's one wish I could, hand to the younger generation and say, you need to not be afraid to say, I'm worth this. And that's not just in business,
Yes.
it's relationships too. It's
100%.
relationships as well. Too many of us just want to hang on to people who aren't giving us what we deserve.
Yes. Uh, yes, I completely agree with that. And I see it in pageants as well. I mean, I was at a state or I was at NAM 3 weeks ago. I feel like my perception of time has been awful these past months. But anyways, whatever that was. And I had this girl come up to me and she was like, I just don't think this could ever be me. And I was like, girl,
Mm,
hello, you are here. Like you are taking the first step. And in order for this to be you, you have to get out of that mindset. It can't be you until you can see it as you. And that is step number one. You have to see your worth and you have to see yourself as whatever you want it to be, whether it's as a successful business owner or in a happy relationship or, in a friendship that values you, whatever it may be, you have to see yourself in that first.
yeah.
Because if you see yourself in, those negative situations or you can't see yourself as a queen or, in a high up position at your job, you can achieve that. Like it, you know, I'm all about, kind of manifesting and really planning out and like visualizing my dreams. I'm really, really big on that. I love
Yeah.
to have like a vision board in front of me. And, I know that's not something that everybody likes to do, but I'm a very, very visual person and I like to speak things into existence. But you definitely have to at least believe that you can. That's
Yeah.
definitely step number one.
And it's so true. And I have a mantra I've said on my podcast a number of times is if you can't see her, you can't be her. And the
Yes.
fact that, you, Emma Maloney, who's another curvy plus size
Mm-hmm.
queen, uh, I'll include myself.
Yes, absolutely.
Number of, plus size women showing up in pageantry, modeling, the media, leadership roles. That's giving hope to other women
Yes.
of what is possible. And sometimes those of us who are kind of the firsts, we're going to get
Mm-hmm.
knocked down, we're going to get dragged out. But, one of my mentors, Brene Brown, she says, you have to be willing to get down and dirty in the arena, and if you're
Yep.
not willing to, you have no reason to criticize those who are. So it's something that I find is so important is that we need to see that representation of different sizes, different races, different religions, just a breadth of diversity for women in leadership roles. And I congratulate you for showing up 8 years to get that crown, girl. That's
Thank you.
dedication.
Thank you so, so much. And I love the arena quote you said. And I love also the shattering glass ceilings. And, that's one that I feel like we hear a lot. And I told a friend recently, I was like, you know, I don't know if the ceiling's been shattered yet in some places,
Yeah.
but I think it's so important if we all can get together, and I think it's important we all need to at least make a crack in it. And I applaud you and so many others. I think we're doing our part in cracking that ceiling. And I don't know if it's there yet, especially in pageantry. Some places for sure, but I think we're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, someday, maybe we'll have a female president. I would love to see that in my lifetime. I want to see more, women in Congress. I want to see more women running states as governors. Like, we need to see more women because there's so many decisions that are being made that, involves us too. We need more of
Absolutely.
those voices. And it's nothing against men at all. It's just we just need to have more female voices at the table. So I think that's something that pageantry can do is to help women have a platform, have more of a voice, and to help them to become more confident so that if they do want to run for office someday, they've already walked through some fires to begin with.
Oh, 100%. All the little girls out there that having their pageant interview at, 6 years old, they want to run for president one day. Please do. Like I am rooting for you. Please, please, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my goodness, girlfriend, I can't believe how quickly this time has been flying. I've been loving talking to you, and you are truly an inspiration. You really, really
Thank you.
are.
Thank
You
you.
give so much inspiration and hope to women everywhere. And I thank you for that, and as well as being on this podcast. So I'm going to link all your socials to this, of course. But I always end my podcast with this question. What is something that you do that makes you feel fabulous?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this question actually. I absolutely love social media, and everybody always thinks of me as a social media girl. But just showing up on social media and sharing kindness and sharing positivity, I've learned firsthand how negative social media can be. Trust me.
Hmm.
So being able to just share positivity on social media, that is truly when I feel fabulous.
I love that. I love that. And that's what we need. We need so much more positivity. We need that more than ever, I think, just to
Yes,
feel like, oh, this is a safe space. I can like feel some joy in me. So thank you for doing that.
of course,
And
of course.
thank you all for watching the Fearless and Fabulous podcast, all the support. I'm so close to 40 episodes now. My God, it is. Didn't think it would get to this point, but here we are. And I thank you again, Sarah. Thank you all for listening. And please make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Follow this queen, follow all the queens I have on this show, and we'll see you soon.